Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again to, well, cut through the noise and really pull out the most important insights from some pretty interesting corners of the global economy. Today, we're looking at a market that honestly might surprise you: home appliances.
Yeah, but specifically dryers that use steam.
Exactly, dryers with steam.
Yeah.
So these aren't just your everyday laundry machines, right? We're talking about the ones that use steam to, get wrinkles out or refresh clothes maybe between washes, even sanitize things. It saves time, less ironing.
Definitely. Big convenience factor.
And we've got our hands on a really comprehensive market outlook report. It gives us projections all the way out to 2033. So our mission, like always, is to unpack that and get the crucial takeaways for you. Okay, so let's dive in.
Well, the first thing that really jumps out is just how solid this market is. It's genuinely growing. If you look back at 2021, the global market for these steam dryers was valued at just over $621 million.
Okay.
And looking forward, the projections are really quite strong. They expect it to climb to nearly $750 million by 2025.
Just in a couple of years, wow.
Yeah, and then keep climbing significantly, actually breaking the billion-dollar mark. They estimate it'll reach about $1.09 billion by 2033.
$1 billion for steam dryers. That's really impressive. Honestly, a bit surprising, the scale of it.
It is, and it works out to a steady compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of around 4.8%. So
Yeah.
robust growth.
Absolutely. Okay, so my first thought is, where is this growth happening? Is it concentrated somewhere? And maybe more importantly, what's actually driving this? Why the demand for this specific feature? So let's maybe start with the regions. Where's the action? How about North America?
North America is definitely a big piece of the puzzle. Its market size was just over $182 million in 2021,
Right.
and is projected to hit over $303 million by 2033. That's growing at a pretty steady pace, around 4.3% annually. Now, within North America, the U.S. is, well, as you'd expect, the main player. It was over $141 million in 2021, and they reckon it'll grow to about $228 million by 2033. So that's an annual growth rate of roughly 4.1%.
Oh. Okay, 4.1%. And what about Canada? I sometimes hear they really go for these more premium appliance features. Is that showing up here?
You're absolutely right to ask that. Canada actually shows noticeably stronger growth. It's nearly doubling its market size. It went from around 29 million in 2021 to an estimated 57.5 million by 2033.
Doubling.
Yeah, which is a really impressive annual growth rate of almost 5.8%.
Okay, that's interesting.
And just for context, Mexico shows more moderate growth from about 11.6 million up to almost 18 million. That's about 3.5% annually. So yeah, that difference between the U.S. and Canada is quite noticeable. Maybe different market maturity or, consumer adoption rates.
That's a great point. It's fascinating how those dynamics can shift,
Yeah.
even, within one continent. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe. Always a huge market, always complex. A mix of established economies, different trends. I bet this is where it gets really interesting.
Absolutely. Europe is key. It clocked in around $155 million back in 2021.
Okay.
And the projection there is over $255 million by 2033. So that's growing at about 4.2% per year overall.
Similar to North America overall, then.
Pretty similar overall, yeah. But when you dig into the individual countries, you see some distinct patterns. Germany, for example, projected to grow from roughly 29 million up to 47 million. That's about a 4% annual increase.
Right.
France is looking at growth from nearly 23 million to over 38 million, so a bit faster at 4.4% annually. Italy shows slightly higher growth again, from almost 17 million to over 29 million. That's close to 4.8% annual growth.
Okay, so picking up pace a bit there.
Yeah, and what's particularly worth noting are Russia and Spain. They're both showing stronger growth rates, actually over 5% annually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Russia's projected to grow from around 15.5 million to nearly 28.6 million. And Spain from almost 12 million up to over 21.6 million.
So over 5% for both of them. What about the UK?
The UK is a bit more moderate. It's
Yeah.
going from nearly 20 million to almost 30 million, but that works out to about 3.4% annually. It's slower. And, beyond these big names, the report mentions that other European markets, think like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, they're collectively growing somewhere between, say, 2.7% and 4.5% annually. So it's definitely varied, but generally a positive picture across the continent.
It really paints a picture of, steady growth, but with these pockets of faster adoption, depending on the market. Okay, now, Asia Pacific. We're talking scale, if we're talking potentially really strong growth. My gut says this is where we'll see some big numbers.
You are absolutely spot on. Asia Pacific, or APAC, was actually the largest regional market back in 2021.
Larger than North America or
Yeah.
Europe?
Came in at over $200 million. And it's projected to just explode, really, to nearly $379 million by 2033. And get this, it's expanding at the highest regional CGR of all of them, almost 5.4%.
5.4%. Okay, that's significant. So who's driving that within APAC? China, obviously.
China is predictably a huge part of it,
Yeah.
projected to grow from around 62 million up to over 112 million by 2033. That's about a 5.1% annual increase, so very strong. Japan's also significant, going from around 38.5 million to over 67 million. That's about 4.7% annual growth. But here's something really noteworthy, something we haven't quite seen this strongly elsewhere. India.
Ah, India. Okay.
It's projected to grow from just over 32 million to nearly 70 million. That gives it the strongest individual country growth rate among the major markets we've discussed, an impressive 6.4% annually.
6.4. Wow. What does that usually signal?
Well, often it points to a pretty significant lifestyle shift.
Yeah.
Rising incomes mean more households can invest in these kinds of convenience, time-saving appliances.
Makes sense.
South Korea is also strong, almost 21 million, up to over 37.5 million, about 5% annually. And Australia from nearly 17.6 million to almost 34.5 million. That's a robust 5.8% annual growth. Similar to Canada, actually.
Yeah, interesting parallel.
And what's really fascinating here is that some of the other, maybe smaller APAC markets, like Singapore, parts of Southeast Asia, Taiwan, they're showing even higher CAGRs. Some subregions are pushing growth rates up over 9% annually.
9%. Goodness. That really underlines the dynamism there, doesn't it? Rapid development in action.
Absolutely. It highlights just how quickly appliance adoption can happen in those economies.
Okay, let's move south a bit. South America, sometimes overlooked, but often a steadily growing market for consumer goods.
Yeah, South America is definitely on the map here. It recorded just over $42 million in 2021.
Okay.
And it's projected to almost double, reaching over 81 million by 2033. So it's tracking with a pretty healthy 5.6% annual growth rate.
Also above the global average then.
Yes, definitely. Brazil is a leading contributor there, going from around 17 million in 2021 to an estimated 32.4 million by 2033. That's about 5.5% annually.
Right.
But Argentina actually shows notably strong expansion, from just over 9.2 million up to nearly 18.8 million. That's an impressive 6.1% annual growth.
6.1. So similar territory to India's growth rate.
Getting up there, yeah. And countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're also added to this regional growth, showing annual increases somewhere between, say, 4.2% and that 6.1% mark. So solid growth across the board there, too.
Good stuff. Okay, let's wrap up the regional tour. Middle East and Africa, how do they fit in?
Okay, the Middle East market. It stood at nearly 22.4 million back in 2021, forecasted to grow to over 43.6 million by 2033. That gives it an annual growth rate of about 5.7%.
Also quite strong.
Yeah, pretty strong. Saudi Arabia specifically contributes from around 6.9 million up to over 13.2 million by 2033. That's about 5.6% annually. So tracking with the region.
Okay. And Africa.
Africa, on the other hand, was at nearly 17.4 million in 2021. It's estimated to reach over 28.3 million by 2033. Now, that works out to about a 3.9% annual growth rate.
Oh, so a bit lower there.
Yes, that's actually the lowest regional CAGR among all the areas we've looked at. It suggests maybe a slower adoption pace, but, still positive growth overall.
Still growing, yeah. Any specific countries mentioned?
Within Africa, Nigeria shows about 3.6% annual growth, and South Africa is a bit higher at about 4.4%.
Okay. So we've toured the globe. We've seen this really consistent growth pretty much everywhere, but with definite hotspots, parts of APAC, South America, certain countries like Canada, Russia, India really standing out. So what does it all mean? What are the forces behind this? It feels like more than just a passing trend for steam dryers, right?
Absolutely. It's not just a fad. The source points to two main drivers, fundamentally. First, it really is about evolving consumer preferences. People want more premium features in their appliances.
Right, not just basic function.
Exactly. They're looking for things that genuinely make life easier, improve how they care for clothes. And steam? Well, it fits perfectly. It tackles wrinkles, lets you refresh delicates without a full wash.
Those real problems.
Precisely. It turns what might have been a luxury into something quite desirable, almost a near necessity for busy households.
Yeah.
And second, crucially, it's tied to rising living standards in many of these regions.
The economic factor.
Yes. As economies grow, disposable incomes go up, and more households can actually afford to invest in these higher-end, time-saving appliances. So they move from being niche, luxury items towards more mainstream adoption.
That makes complete sense.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture,
Hmm.
this kind of healthy global and regional growth, it presents really clear, significant opportunities for brands in the whole appliance sector. It signals a real shift in what consumers expect from their home technology.
It really does. It's a classic case of tech meeting a need and people being willing to pay for that convenience. So, given all this data, what should brands be doing? What actions could they take beyond just, make more steam dryers?
Well, they can definitely use this data strategically. It's
Yeah.
not just about introducing more steam dryers, but maybe more advanced ones, and really tailoring the marketing.
Oh, so?
Well, tailoring it to those evolving preferences, but doing it region by region, developing nuanced strategies, maybe focusing on time-saving benefits in those rapidly urbanizing areas we talked about.
Right, like in parts of APAC.
Exactly. Versus maybe focusing more on the high-end garment care aspects in more mature markets, like parts of Europe or North America.
Smart. Different angles for different places.
Precisely. And the data shows that while the average annual growth is, somewhere between 4% and 6% for most regions, those select markets like India, parts of Southeast Asia, maybe even some in Africa or South America, they show potential for much higher returns.
So focusing investment there.
It suggests that a more targeted, nuanced approach could yield really significant results for brands willing to invest strategically in those high-growth spots.
That's a really comprehensive look at a market that, yeah, maybe seems niche at first glance, but clearly has some serious sustained growth happening. I think the core takeaway for me is that this global demand for steam dryers is really expanding, and it's fueled by consumers wanting more from their appliances, features that genuinely make daily life better. Convenience, specialized care, seems like they're becoming non-negotiable for households worldwide.
Absolutely. And maybe that raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about. As technology keeps weaving more advanced features into our everyday appliances, what other premium functions like steam and dryers might become standard next? And, how might that fundamentally reshape markets we currently take for granted, maybe over the next decade or so?
Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to really getting what's shaping our world, one fascinating topic at a time. Today, we're taking a closer look at an appliance maybe many of us use almost daily, but, rarely think about its deeper market dynamics. We're talking about the evolving landscape of the dryers with Steam Market. Our mission, as always, is to pull out the most important nuggets and, frankly, surprising insights from our source material. Today, that's excerpts from Steam Dryer Market. Trends, Drivers, and Challenges by Cognitive Market Research. Think of this as your way to get fully up to speed on, well, the cutting edge of consumer choices and global adoption. It reveals how innovation, shifting lifestyles, and even sustainability are fundamentally reshaping this pretty intriguing market. Okay, so let's unpack this. When we talk about steam dryers, what's genuinely making people want to upgrade? What's fueling this market momentum beyond just, getting clothes dried?
Yeah, that's a great place to start because it's actually more nuanced than just clothes get dry.
Yeah.
What we're really seeing, especially I think post-pandemic, is this heightened emphasis on hygiene. Consumers aren't just looking for wrinkle-free clothes anymore. They want truly sanitized apparel.
Ah, right. Sanitized.
Exactly. Steam dryers offer that crucial extra layer killing bacteria, allergens, plus reducing the need for ironing. So it's not just convenience. It's about, well, a new baseline for cleanliness and fabric care. Especially maybe for delicates, you wouldn't want to blast with high heat all the time.
That makes perfect sense. And when you factor in how so many of us live now, increasing urbanization, these rapid lifestyles, that seems like a huge driver too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as more people move into cities, they're constantly dealing with space constraints, time pressures. So if we think about someone like, let's call her Alex, a busy professional, maybe living in a compact city apartment. Well, the idea of outdoor drying just isn't practical, is it?
Not at all.
Steam dryers address this head-on. They're compact, they're efficient, multifunctional, offering quicker drying cycles. The ability to just refresh clothes or knock out wrinkles in minutes, all indoors.
Yeah.
That's a massive advantage over older methods. It's a game changer for urban dwellers.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The tech innovation. Our source highlights things like smart connectivity, energy-saving functions, built-in moisture sensors. But for you, our listener, who's probably already quite clued in, what's the real technical leap here? How are these innovations actually making a difference beyond, just sounding good on a spec sheet?
That's a sharp question because we're not just talking simple timers or like basic, is it damp detection anymore. We mean sophisticated sensors, infrared, maybe conductivity sensors measuring the precise moisture content of the fabric.
Okay.
This means clothes get perfectly dry, but without overprocessing. That saves energy, sure, but it also extends the life of your garments.
Right, protects the fabric.
Exactly. And the smart connectivity.
Hmm.
It's moving beyond just remote start. Think about AI-driven algorithms learning your habits, optimizing cycles based on fabric types detected, even predicting maintenance needs.
Wow.
It reflects this broader trend of appliances becoming sort of proactive partners in our homes. It's something tech-savvy users like our Alex increasingly expect.
But it's not all smooth sailing, is it? Despite these really compelling advantages, there are challenges definitely holding back growth in this market. The first one that jumps out is that high upfront cost and the ongoing maintenance. Steam dryers are generally a bigger investment than traditional ones.
You've absolutely hit on a significant barrier there. The initial price tag is just one part of it.
Yeah.
You also have to think about the added cost, maybe needing specialized waterline installation, right? And the need for potentially more routine servicing because the steam system is just more complex. This really bites, especially in developing markets where price sensitivity is naturally higher. A consumer might love the idea of steam, but if it's double the price of a conventional model plus installation, well, it often becomes a luxury they just can't justify.
Yeah.
It really challenges the market's ability to penetrate those regions quickly.
And that ties straight into another clear roadblock you mentioned, limited awareness in emerging economies. In many developing countries, traditional drying practices hanging clothes out are just deeply ingrained.
That's right. So the core issue isn't just cost. It's often a fundamental lack of product education. Consumers there might not even be aware of what steam tech offers, let alone the benefits for hygiene or convenience we talked about.
So they don't know what they're missing.
Pretty much. Without targeted promotional efforts, clear demonstrations of value, shifting decades of habit is incredibly difficult. It severely limits market penetration. It's that classic chicken and egg thing, isn't it? Do you invest heavily in education before demand, or wait for demand to maybe grow organically?
Right. And finally, a big one, especially with global environmental concerns rising, it's those worries about water and energy consumption. I mean, while many modern steam dryers are designed to be energy efficient, the steam function itself, well, it has to use additional water and power.
And this raises a really important question for the brands, doesn't it? In regions with strict environmental regulations or maybe ongoing water scarcity issues, how do they overcome this perceived drawback?
Good question.
Unless manufacturers actively invest in and really clearly communicate about more sustainable alternatives, things like advanced heat pump technology maybe, which dramatically cuts energy use, or models that somehow recycle water for the scheme. Otherwise, these environmental factors could significantly slow down or even deter widespread adoption. It's a tricky balance between premium features and ecological responsibility.
Okay, but on the brighter side, we are seeing some powerful emerging trends shaping the future here. So what does this all mean for where the dryers with steam market is headed in the next few years? The most prominent trend seems to be that deeper integration with smart home ecosystems.
Absolutely. The goal isn't just connecting to a phone app anymore. That's sort of table stakes now. It's about seamless integration. Voice assistants Alexa, Google Home, broader smart home platforms. Imagine our Alex getting a notification that her dryer cycle is done, then just asking her smart speaker to refresh a shirt for tomorrow's meeting, all without touching a button.
That's pretty cool.
This level of interconnectivity really enhances the user experience. It shifts from simple convenience to truly embedded intelligent living, and it appeals directly to consumers who are actively building out their smart homes.
And going hand in hand with that tech aspect, the drive towards sustainability is huge, as you mentioned. Eco-friendly innovations seem to be a core focus now. We're seeing brands introducing dryers with high energy ratings, designs that use less water, even featuring recyclable or biodegradable materials and components.
This is a critical shift, I think. We connect this to the bigger picture. As environmental awareness grows globally, these green features, they're not just optional add-ons anymore.
Right.
For a large segment of buyers, they are becoming really significant decision-making factors. Consumers, maybe like Alex again, are increasingly willing to pay a bit more for appliances that align with their values. It makes sustainability a powerful competitive differentiator, the fundamental part of the product appeal now. a genuine market force.
And finally, we're seeing this rapid expansion of e-commerce as a vital sales channel. Makes sense. Online platforms let you easily compare models, read real-world reviews, find bundled deals maybe, including delivery and installation, all from your couch.
And what's truly impactful here is how digital access has just become the norm, hasn't it? This trend is helping brands tap into much wider markets, diverse customer segments, people who might have been out of reach through traditional brick-and-mortar retail alone. It offers just unparalleled reach and potentially personalization, too. It's fundamentally transforming how consumers research and buy large appliances, expanding the market's footprint.
So, okay, to wrap up this deep dive then, the dryers with steam market is clearly seeing some robust growth. It seems driven by that mix of evolving hygiene awareness, the shift towards genuinely smart living, and the practical demands of our increasingly urban lives.
Yeah, however, to maintain that long-term momentum, it's really crucial for brands to proactively address those existing barriers. The pricing hurdles, filling those significant awareness gaps in key regions, and definitely innovating to counter valid environmental concerns around water and energy.
Exactly. Innovation in smart tech, smart eco-design, and the continued expansion of digital retail. These seem expected to keep this market dynamic and evolving well into the next decade. So for you, our listener, thinking about all this, what stands out as the most surprising aspect? Is it the deep impact of urbanization we discussed? The fascinating power of smart home integration? Or perhaps the growing, almost undeniable importance of sustainability in even our most everyday appliances? Thank you for joining us on this insightful deep dive.